Hello there, and welcome. Well, here it is Friday, time for another anomaly. But I think this little story will be a little bit more encouraging than some of my past ones. I call this one the Boss Lady Anomaly. Now before I start talking about the actual experience, I want to talk a little bit about boss ladies. I really don't mind having a woman for a boss. I've had several. And it doesn't bother me at all for a woman to be in charge of me. Probably because I had a pretty bossy mom and a couple of bossy grandmas. Well, Grandma Jones wasn't exactly bossy, more manipulative, but still. I don't mind bossy women. I don't mind that they have their way and direct my steps when I'm in their employ. But I have a feeling there's a sort of inculcated sexist angle in this poor old nation of ours, because I really do believe, and I have no proof of this, I might be wrong, but I really do believe that the reason we don't have Kamala Harris as president is because we have such an inculcated sexism and misogyny in this country that men who really are very wonderful and wise men could not bring themselves to vote for that woman. I mean, Hillary won the popular vote, but not the whatever it is, the college thingy. Electoral college, I'm sorry, I don't want to be flip. But still, I think it's a sad thing that we're so far behind in that one arena where women are not honored as leaders as much as they should be. I mean, Mexico has a woman president now, and she's kicking our president's butt in many ways. So, that said, like I said, I like boss ladies. They're fine. And by the way, boss ladies and boss men both boss ladies and boss gentlemen have done horrible things to me. It's equal. They both have done it. But what I'm going to tell you right now is a sort of a horrible boss lady moment. I had just started teaching at a school. I was teaching sophomores and freshmen, and I also was the drama club sponsor. And the drama club rehearsed in the all-purpose room in the building, and I had a key to that. That was my extra key. And one day, when we were supposed to have rehearsal, I went upstairs where the all-purpose room was, and there was a sign on the door, all-purpose room closed for the day. And I thought, well, that's probably something that they were doing during the day, but nobody's in there now, and I have a key, and we have rehearsal, and nobody has contacted me. So we're just going to go ahead and have rehearsal. We'll leave the sign up and won't worry about it. Fine. The kids went in, they had a rehearsal. The next day, I'm teaching class. It's one of my sophomore classes, and the assistant principal, who's a woman, and my boss lady, walks in, and she's furious at me. And I've only been teaching there a few weeks. And she lights into me. Did you go into the all-purpose room and have a rehearsal yesterday? Well, yes. Well, didn't you see the sign on the door? Yes, but I didn't think it applied to me. I didn't know what it was really about. Well, it turns out that it was a safety concern for anybody in there, but nobody had told me that, so I had foolishly and wrongly, rather than going and trying to find someone to tell me what we should do because it was after school, I just went ahead in my own boss lady way. And she really dressed me down. And of course, I was embarrassed and kind of vibrating because the adrenaline was up. And I'm sure I blushed because I could feel my face getting hot. And she dressed me down. She let me know that if I ever found a sign like that, I should contact her and find out what was going on and no more of this ignoring signs. Okay, so you get the idea. It was humiliating. But I stood there and I took it and I didn't cry and I apologized. I said I was in the wrong and I won't do it again. And she left. Now, I didn't, because I was in front of the students and because I've always been a sort of super sensitive to being in front of the students, I did not break down at that point. I could have if I'd wanted to, but I did not. I just stood there for a couple, felt like hours, but I'm sure it was just maybe a minute or two, a minute maybe. And then I turned back and I went on with my teaching. And the students asked a little bit about it, and I said, well, she was right and I was wrong to do that, and let's just go on with the lesson. So I thought, well, that's it. I'm not going to last long here. I'm going to have to start looking for another job. But there was something else going on, and I didn't realize it, and neither did she. Here's what was going on. While she was yelling at me in front of my students, they were deciding as a group, without even discussing it, that they were on my side. I became, in that moment, their girl. And they were going to be on my side no matter what. You see, that boss lady was also a disciplinarian in the building, and they had all been yelled at to some degree or another by that woman. And so they were just like, that's it. We're on your side, man. And I was Miss Mac from that day on. My name is McCollum, but I was Miss Mac for those kids, and that made me very happy because I like that name. And I have never been more popular than I was during my time at that school. I was beloved, and it's largely because the boss lady yelled at me in front of others. Now, here's the thing. She couldn't know that she was doing this for me. I couldn't know, and it might have worked out differently had it been a different group of kids or who knows. And I have had men who were my bosses yell at me in front of my peers and in front of my students. That's happened. Not as much, and that one only happened that once, but it's not that she yelled at me. It's that she did it in front of the kids, and the kids immediately felt a kinship to me and not her. And sophomores are very much that way. They align themselves. But you have to understand, by the end of the day, every kid in the building knew about that incident. And by the end of the week, every kid in my classes adored me. And by the time I left that school, I was beloved. I've never been beloved like that. People cried when they found out I was leaving that building. And really, aside from the fact that I tried my hardest and God led me and all of that, that was all very, very important. I don't want to belittle it. But it began, my love affair with the students who treated me like a very important person began when my boss lady yelled at me. So I owe her thanks. Now I have to tell you, she did not carry a grudge, and neither did I. Even before I realized what a difference her yelling at me had made, I knew that I had done the wrong thing, and I respected the fact that I needed to do better. I did. And she did come to trust me, I believe, because I taught her children. In fact, there were a lot of people who didn't like me personally, but let their children take my class, and in fact encouraged their children to take my class. And I think that's largely because I managed to get results. It's a nice thing to get results. And it's a nice thing for parents to see that their students are approaching a class with enthusiasm and valuing the teacher in that class. I really should send a box of cookies to that boss lady. That's it for today. I hope you'll be able to join me tomorrow when I'll be doing an interview, and I hope you see me real soon, regardless of when you join me, you gorgeous people.